Hey guys, welcome to the video. So in this video we're gonna take a look at making a house or a building using the new primitives in Cube Zero Paint. So the primitives are these 3D models and you can add textures and change them and change the size and proportions of it. So this is really good to create different kind of objects. Here I'm turning off the light source, so it's just a little easier, and you can divide it into different sections if you wanna make like windows or anything like that. But I like to just separate it in half, so I get like the middle, like half. Get that cross, so you know where the middle is, the center, and like the halfway point. And I think that's a good way to have as like a reference when you're doing the textures. And here, this are the controls for it. Got the green for up and down. So yeah, the one on top is going up, the one on the bottom is for going down. And this one is going forward, like the blue one, or backward. So you just choose whichever direction you want to move it, and just drag it and change the size like that. So I think I'm gonna keep it like this. This is gonna be the proportions of the house. So it's like a rectangle pretty much. It's not really a perfect square. And here, this is a good way to have show the different sides. Like it's like preset cameras. So you have like the front, side, like 3/4 overhead kind of view. So it's really good to use those to change the view. So what we're gonna do here is just gonna put a front view, and we're gonna create a new layer, and we're gonna draw on top of it. So this is pretty much to get the proportions. So you get the right proportions when we add the texture. So here I create a new layer, and at first I was experimenting trying to use the symmetrical ruler. You can see here. But I actually end up not using it. But this could be a good way to do it. Like you put a symmetrical ruler in the middle, and then you can create different things like the door and all that. So I just ended up using the grid. I just put the grid to see where everything is, like to help me place things. And then I use the different tools like the rectangle. And also something to know is like I'm using the vector layers, which let me do stuff like this. I can just copy in the same layer and edit it really easy. And the lines were a little thinner, so I just made the lines a little thicker, so it's easier to see. And you can see here how easy it is. I'm just like using the grid to place things and make the squares for the windows and the door. And here I'm adding these little things on the door on the side of the at the window. I mean, instead of doing what I did before, where I did the squares, instead of doing one by one, you should just do one thing and then copy once it's finished. Like here I did it a little wrong, but I kind of fix it in a second. This is like the door. I'm just doing this kind of pattern in the front of the door. And something cool about the vector layers is like you can delete stuff really easy. See, I just tap the lines and it deletes it. Yeah, here I use the curve tool to create this. So the cool thing about this too is that you're drawing in, pretty much in 2D. Like you're not thinking about perspective or anything like that. And then when you add it to the 3D model, then it's gonna, can show whatever perspective you want. But we're just drawing the 2D, like no perspective needed, pretty much. Here I just copy the windows. See how easy it is. I just hold shift to select multiple, and then copy and paste, and then you just drag it to the different places. So this is pretty much the front of the house. I just named the front and changed the label so I can see it easier later. And then I just do like a big square for like the whole front. And it's not perfect there at the bottom, it's a little off, but I just left it like that. Now I just did a side view right there, and I'm gonna zoom in until I match the height to the front view. You can see there, I did that really quick, and then I'm adding these guides so to know like where the level of the buildings are. Then I copy one of the windows, and now I just copy and paste, you know, to place them. This is the side of the house, pretty much. I don't know if they did that real quickly. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But it's pretty simple. I just copy and paste it and match the height of the house. So it stays consistent when we add in the texture. That's the only reason, but makes it easier. So here I just copy these and do the same thing. Copy, drag, and this is the side of the house now. And I know they're aligned because I put the guides before. Now this side is done, and then we can go into adding the textures. So here you go to the texture, you go to primitives, and then there's different things. You go to export. This is to export the maps, the texture map, which is pretty much like a guide to where to put the textures. And see, now we're gonna open it as in a separate thing. It's a PNG. So I'm gonna click open, and I get this file. At first, it may be tricky to understand what it means, but here I'm gonna just add it really quickly. So this square is pretty much in squares, even though my drawing, even though the 3D model was a rectangle, it still shows you as a square here. So see, I'm dividing it. The front, think about it like just like a square. Then there's the top and the back. Think about, a good way to think about it is like this thing's folding, like folding it like a kind of origami or kind of like a little puzzle. You just fold it and turn it into like a square. So these are the different sides. Like front is there in the middle and the bottom, then the top, back, and then right and left. Yeah, so that's the way. That's where you should put the different things depending what texture you want to do. So, for example, here this is the front, and I copy this drawing that I did in the other file, and I'm gonna paste here. Just copy and paste, and it brings it here. And then now I'm gonna put it here in the middle square because that's the front of the 3D object. So we're gonna do that, and see, even though this is not a perfect square, we gotta match it into square. So I take off the aspect ratio and make it, just drag it like that, turn it into square, even if it's a rectangle. So you get this kind of distorted look, like the house looks kind of weird, right? Because it's kind of too square now. But it's gonna be fine because when we add it, it's gonna pretty much stretch it and add it to the shape of the actual building, because we traced the building. We traced it of the 3D model. That's why when we import it back, it's gonna be fine. You'll see in a second. So now I save the file, even though it's a PNG. You can save it as a clip studio file, and then add that. But here I just did like that to keep it consistent. But then I go here, add the house, and it gets added. And this is just like a quick preview for the front, just to show that's how it works. And you can see I can turn the 3D model around, and the rest is white. That's why there's nothing in it. I didn't put any texture there. I didn't put any like drawing. So you can see you got this kind of rectangle building or house, and we're gonna keep adding stuff to it, and you change the perspective and all that. So this is just a quick preview. Now we're gonna add the other stuff, the side of the house. So we bring it, you just paste again, and then we're gonna match it to the other side, to the sides pretty much. This is gonna be the right side, and again, make sure the aspect ratio is checked off, so you can do this and kind of distort it, put it into like a square. And once I match it, then I copy and paste and I drag it, so I got the two sides of the house, has like the same amount of windows and stuff. Yeah, and I'm putting them in a folder too, so just to keep them organized. You don't have to do that, but I like to do that. Just keep the different size in different folders. And in a separate layer, because these are vectors, you can't really color fill, and that's why I add an extra layer so I can add the colors and different things like that. So here I'm adding the front, and then I go here and add the side. Pretty quickly, pretty easy. And then here I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna go to the primitives, to file, and then the house again, because I saved it. Now I have all of these stuff added. You're gonna see in a second. Now I got the color, and you got the side of the house. Yeah, and everything's like aligned properly. So and you see that even though it was a square, this is more of a rectangle, and it looks like normal proportion pretty much, because we did the tracing at the beginning. We kind of trace the 3D model to get the shape first. So that's like the main part of the different faces of the building. Now there's no triangle for like the roof. I'm trying to do like a triangle roof thing. So you can get one of these flat planes. I just dragged it in, and drag it to align it, and that's one half, and this is another half. Just copy and paste, and then you can just drag it like that, like to kind of tilt it, and do the same for both, and create this kind of triangle for the roof. Yeah, this is I mean, there's probably other ways to do it, but this is one way that I found that's kind of easy to do. It's really quick, so that's why I did it. It's a little easy. Just adjust it a little here and there, and you can add texture to it. So see, when you add a texture, you just click. So you can just click and drag in into the 3D model, and then you get that texture. The only thing, it resizes it, like you saw there. So then you have to like bring it back to the actual size again. But it's not like, it's really easy, so it's not a big deal. Here now there's this gap in the middle. Like, how are we gonna fill it? There's like no triangle shape like that. But we can actually do it ourselves, and this kind of, I guess, will give you a quick tip for if you want to do any weird shapes or any shape that we don't have from the 3D models. It's a good way to do it. So I created this triangle with a polyline tool, and this is like a flat, drawing. Like it's not 3D or anything like that. It's just like a flat triangle shape, and I just drew that. So then you save that as a material. Save a material, and then add some tags to it. I did like triangle, like roof. so I can find it easier later. And then you can save it in your the folder that you want, and so you can find it easier too. So I have this folder I made, like 3D textures and stuff. So now I don't need that triangle, because I saved it as a material. So I'm gonna bring this the flat plane, and drag the material that I saved into it. So you see what happens? Even though it's a square, when I add the triangle, it adds the triangle, and the rest becomes transparent. So even though when you hover over it, it's like a rectangle, it only shows the triangle that we made, and the rest is gonna be transparent. So you just get this triangle shape texture pretty much, and it's in 3D, so you can do all the same things, like drag it. Here I'm aligning it to the middle of the building, and then here's the edge, and then just bring it down. So it's really easy to align it once you have the snapping kind of thing enabled. Yeah, so just very simple here. Just stretch it and like match the corners, and then the height as well. Here it's a little off, it's a little like to the side, so on here I gotta adjust it and make it like parallel to the building. And then once I have that, I can just copy and paste, and then I just drag across to the other side. So I see here, see I'm dragging it, I just copy paste, and then when it snaps there at the other side, that's it. That's pretty much that. And the roof looks kind of weird now, but let's see. We're gonna just delete it. You go here to delete. You can go here to the primitives, and this different options. You could delete it there, or even just change the color. So I just click color. Over there, you see it's color. Well, it says file, material, delete. So on top of that is color, and then show the wireframe. I just take that off and just change the color like that. Very simple. So you can have your different shapes like that, and then I do the same for the other side pretty quickly. Okay, so if you want to copy, you just click the shape and the 3D model, and then copy and paste. But the thing, see, you only copy the square or the rectangle because it had that selected. If you want to copy the whole thing, you have to select all of them. So you click, for example, the square, and then hold shift and click the roof and all the different parts. So you hold shift to copy, select everything, and then copy and paste. And you can do this, it copies everything. And then when you move it and you keep pasting, it's gonna keep repeating like the distance and stuff like that. So it's pretty useful. So that's gonna be for the first part. We're gonna look at more things in the next part, and see you in the next one.